ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Central Indiana. The Winchester Speedway is the site of today's Featherlite Trailers 150. I'm Ray Dunlap, along with Ron Dreger, bringing you today's ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Supercar Series race. And here's a look at today's starting lineup in the SK Tools Field Summary.
Eric Smith, Dwayne Sandy, and Mike Buckley starting 26th through 28th at the tail of the field here at Winchester Speedway. Picking up the starting grid on 25th, Bob Dodds, the Numerics Unlimited Ford, Dayton, Ohio driver. Richard Hauk will be 24th on the grid today from Ann Arbor, Michigan. Gary Weinbrower starts 23rd, a rare short track appearance for the Brook Park, Ohio driver. David Hall, the Frogs Import Salvage Buick, he's 22nd on the grid. And the 21st fastest qualifier, Perry Tripp, he's from Fredericktown, Missouri.
Kenny Brown from Cincinnati, Ohio in car number 49. Then we see Todd Bowser, a backup car to the Quality Farm and Fleet car driven by his brother Bobby Bowser. Todd will start car number 2 in 19th. Then it's Mark Gibson in the Atlas Copco Tools Chrysler car number 7. Glenn Brewer is from Columbus, Georgia. Car number 10 will start 17th today. And in 16th, it's the Low Bob's entry from Tom Bigelow.
The defending ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series champion Bobby Bowser does start 15th in the Quality Farm and Fleet Ford. Harris Devane is at the wheel of C.L. Jones's Highland Timber Ford in 14th. Mike Loers from Midlothian, Illinois, a good qualifying run for him in the ASI Torque Threadlocker car. Roger Blackstock at the wheel of Kenny Schrader's Pontiac in 12th. And Jody Guerra will start 11th on the grid here today.
Of course, Jody from Dayton, Ohio. Frank Kimmel from Jeffersonville, Indiana, and the Papa John's Pizza Oldsmobile starts 10th. Then it's Marvin Smith in the Riverside Auto Parts Chevrolet. A newcomer to the series, Wesley Russell in number 07. Andy Hillenberg is the current point leader in the series. And number 00, that's Chet Blanton. Chet is from Plainfield, Indiana, in the Sports Spectrum entry.
Top 5 qualifiers, Dill Whittemore from Seymour, Indiana, in the Indiana Steel Chevrolet. Bob Shack, the Chapin, South Carolina driver in the Engineered Components Buick. Bob Hill from Story City, Iowa, he's driving Larry Clements' Chevy Max Chevrolet. Tim Steele, the 93 ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series champion in HS Dye in the Simlink Ford. And the pole sitter, young Scott Neal, he's from Middletown, Indiana, driving the Martins Landscaping Olds.
We'll be back to Winchester with more of the Featherlite Trailers 150 in a moment. Welcome back to Winchester Speedway. It's a high-banked half-mile racetrack, and today's running of the Featherlite Trailers 150 in the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Supercar Series. Nice to have you with us here on a sunny afternoon, a bit chilly here at Winchester as we get ready to go racing. 150 laps on this high-banked racetrack, and Ron, this is very similar to the Salem Speedway where we just competed a week ago.
Very similar indeed, and a real good reason for that. Back in the 1940s, a guy named Frank Funk built this racetrack along with Salem Speedway and also Dayton Speedway, now defunct. Very, very similar characteristics. One thing you're going to notice right off the bat, one of the things that a lot of drivers have said about Winchester, especially in the past 5, 6, 7 years here at Roger and Linda Holdeman's place, boy, that place is getting rough. The pavement is just horribly hard to hold your car together. The whole car vibrates as you race around here. Brand new pavement. In fact, they were still doing a little bit of work on it last week.
So a new surface here on this high-banked racetrack as we get ready to go racing with Scott Neal on the pole. Tim Steele brings him down the front straightaway, and we're underway. The green flag is out. We see Wesley Russell there in car number 07, a newcomer to the racing here in the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series. And the cars now spread out a little bit as a few of them still too wide going down the back straightaway. Again, it's a sunny day, but not all that very hot here today. So the characteristics of this racetrack may be very different from the way they practiced yesterday on this track.
Ray, a lot of times when a racetrack is repaved, you see speeds pick up significantly. Not necessarily true here today because the Hoosier Racing tire, that's the spec tire for the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series, that tire is not something that is giving them a lot of very quick, real adhesive laps. A little bit hard, in fact. Some of the guys have said they'd like to have a little tackier tire. What you're going to see is probably not as high a speeds, the qualifying speeds not as high. And there's Frank Kimmel making a nice move on the inside of Andy Hillenberg. But the tire should last longer, probably not as many tire changes.
So pit stops may not be as big an order today as we've seen in past races here at Winchester. The field now spreading out a little bit, but boy, the speeds are right up there. Scott Neal qualified on the Talladega pole today with a time of 17.243. That's 104 miles an hour. And when you get around a half-mile racetrack at over 100 miles an hour, you're moving.
Talked to Tim Steele a little bit. He said this place is now so smooth that the wheel used to just vibrate your hand so hard when you raced here at Winchester. And there you see Steele putting a lap on Bob Dodds. And he's pulled away a little bit there from Scott Neal. He said it's just like driving at Daytona now. It's so smooth. Everything is just perfect. The car feels great.
So Tim Steele is your leader in the HSI and SimLink Ford. Brand new race car underneath the wheel of Steele from Coopersville, Michigan. Of course, you said earlier, as we looked at the SK Tools field summary, Steele, the 1993 ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde champion. But in 1994 and 95, he hasn't had quite the seasons he would like to have, so he's trying to put together back-to-back wins if possible, something that hasn't been done for a long time. Of course, Steele the winner just a week ago at Salem Speedway in a very controversial race. Hopefully we won't see any of that today.
Well, it was exciting to be there. It was exciting to the fans as well. Tim Steele, the 93 Series champion, had a great season. 1994, he branched out and did a lot of different types of racing and didn't really get the ball rolling as well as he hoped to. 95, he's come back. He planned to run every single race, run for the championship in this ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series. Started out with a bad event at Daytona with a crash, crashed at Atlanta and Talladega, and things just didn't work out for him. He had great qualifying runs, top 5 all 3 of those events, but they kind of trailed off. His knee got banged up. He was injured. He's made a comeback of sorts. He's now had 14 starts. He's got 7 top 5 finishes, 1 last week, and he's really on a tear here today.
A very quick car underneath Steele. We see a couple of the cars that are still running in the top 10. They're trying to chase him down. One of those, number 46, Bob Hill from Story City, Iowa. He's driving for Larry Clement. And coming into your screen right now as he moves up on the back of Perry Tripp there in car number 6 is Bob Shack from Chapin, South Carolina in the number 75. Of course, he would normally be driving a Ford in a short track race of this character, but not today because that car really got destroyed just a week ago at Salem.
Sure did. What's important right now to Bob Schacht is he's about 150, 160 points behind Andy Hillenberg and Bobby Bowser in the championship points race. This is race 20 of 21. He's got to gain a lot of ground in a hurry. Bob Schacht qualified 4th fastest. That gives him 10 additional points, what those 2 other guys didn't pick up. And now he'd like to get up there and lead some laps and try to finish ahead of them and cut some of that down before we go to Atlanta.
Of course, even though his Ford did get destroyed at Salem Speedway, this car that's underneath him, a Buick today, a pretty good race car. He's won with that car at a couple of different tracks, including Pocono and the 1-mile dirt tracks over at DuQuoin. So a good, solid race car. Here goes number 52. That's Roger Blackstock. He's from Shelby Township, Michigan. One of the drivers that's driving for Kenny Schrader this year, and boy, he's had a handful of them.
Well, he really has. Roger Blackstock, talking to him earlier today, he has kind of thrown caution to the wind here today at Winchester. He's decided, it looks like we've got a car spun in the back.
Yeah, speaking of caution, a car sideways on the back stretch. Can't really tell who that is. We'll get an eye on that number. We'll be back to Winchester in just a minute. Welcome back to Winchester. When we went to break, we knew there was a car spun on the backstretch. Not sure which one it was. Now we know it was Mark Gibson's number 7. He made significant contact, evidently, with Bobby Bowser. Our cameras didn't pick up the accident back there, but Bowser into the pit area and Gibson on the hook of the wrecker right now. Today's race at Winchester being brought to you by Auto Value Parts Stores, the #1 name in automotive products and the official auto parts store of the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Supercar Series. 1 lap to go, Ron. The white flag is out, and apparently Gibson may be done for the day.
Charlie Newby, the car owner, the Atlas Copco Tools Chrysler. Tough year for those guys. They've had some really good runs, been running the top 5 on the lead lap, but something always seems to reach out and bite them. That's too bad early in the event here today. Tim Steele has been awfully strong in his HSI SimLink Ford. Scott Neal just behind him. He's the pole sitter. Of course, he won at Salem last year in the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series, so surely not going to put him out of the game yet, but Tim Steele looks awfully strong.
A couple of good cars there that are being able to race with each other, including Frank Kimmel. We saw Bob Schacht get up there and do some racing. Bob Hill in the car number 46. Don't count out Harris Devane. He's having a pretty good run today in car number 33. And also another car that's had a pretty good run early in the stage here is number 6, Perry Tripp. He's right up there in the top 10.
See Dill Whittemore just behind the white car of Bob Schacht. He's also doing very well. And Chet Blanton, the car just behind Whittemore. So all those are lead lap cars in the outside lane, and all well within reach of the leader. Now you're going to see Whittemore try to make a move up in Bob Hill drifts high, coming out of turn 4, down to the inside, taking a look. That's Bob Shack. Of course, he's won with that race car at Salem. We mentioned very similar to this racetrack. It's a good car.
A Buick underneath Bob Shack today. Engineered Components, the sponsorship on that car. And here goes Whittemore, number 56, the Indiana Steel entry. Blast past Shack going down. And watch how Dill Whittemore is able to keep his car low on this racetrack. I think that could really pay off to his favor, because a number of these cars are drifting right up to the wall. And boy, look at that. Shack is certainly doing that. His car going very high in the turns. And here goes Blanton to the inside in the Sports Spectrum entry, car number 00. Everybody taking a look to Bob Shack to the inside, and Blanton may be able to make the pass coming down the front straight.
Shack's got good power in that 75 car, the Engineered Components Buick, and he can stay with them and even pull away down the middle of the front stretch. But there you see Blanton's got the inside line. It's Keith Wimberly's car, and now Terry Shirley's mount, driven by Frank Kimmel, the Papa John's car, going to try to do the same thing, stay on the bottom, try to get underneath Bob Shack and drive past him.
We've seen a couple of racetracks run where if you can run on the outside, it can really play to your favor, including Flat Rock and Killcare Speedway. Although those are very low-banked racetracks in comparison to this racetrack, you're looking at a banking here which really lays out very similar to a Daytona or a Talladega racetrack.
I'll tell you something else some of these guys are struggling with, at least a little bit here. This is a different racetrack. Bob Shack's probably run 6 out of the 10 ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series races that have been run at Winchester, but it's been on the old pavement. This is a brand new racetrack, and you can't run it the exact same way that you've ran it before. And
as you mentioned, a different tire from Hoosier, a little bit harder compound, so the car's reacting a bit differently. Here goes Roger Blackstock to the inside of Shack right now, car number 52. And boy, if there's anything Bob Shack does not want to see is this many cars going past him early in the race, because he needs an excellent finish here at Winchester to stay in this points battle. Of course, we've got a great points race going, and this is the 20th event of 21 in the 95 season for the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde cars, and we've just got one super speedway race to go after today, and that'll be in Atlanta in the middle of November, and that will decide the championship. But if Jack is going to get in there and really fight for it, he needs a good finish today.
He's got to pick up a handful of points here. He'll still mathematically be in it if he finishes a long ways behind, but he really needs to finish ahead of those guys, or at least right with them, to even stay in the hunt for the possibility of win to win the championship at Atlanta. All these cars in your frame now are all lead lap cars running nose to tail, all trying to pick up a position on one another. Jody Guerra, that's Dan Faldorf's car, the J.D. Dankin construction car, trying to move under the red 11 of Andy Hillenberg, First National Bank Terre Haute car. Hillenberg, another one of those points chasers. He is only 5 points ahead of Bobby Bowser coming into this event.
A very, very tight points race for those drivers. Probably the big advantage that any of these three that are locked into this great points battle for this season have is only 26 cars took the green flag today. So if one of them were to fall out early, at least they're not going to lose positions all the way back to 40th like we would see on a super speedway. So 26 cars started. We mentioned Eric Smith and Mike Buckley in the SK Tools starting lineup. Both of those cars were unable to start. So scratch the Custom Power Products Chevrolet, the ETS, Pontiac, and the Southtown Motorsports Ford from that starting lineup.
You know, Ray, let me correct myself quickly. I said that Bobby Bowser and Hillenberg were 5 points separated. They're not. They're tied. They're absolutely dead tied coming into this event. So one position ahead or behind with Andy Hillenberg and Bobby Bowser, that is a position in the point standings, not only on a racetrack, but also in the season-long point standings, to be that close after 20 races.
What a great championship battle as it comes down to this race and then one to go in Atlanta. We're looking at Wesley Russell here in car number 07. A good run for this young driver from Muncie, Indiana. He's in the modern welding Chevrolet, and that's a car that he built by himself from the ground up. So Wesley, with some fabrication talent as well as he's showing today, he can drive this race car too.
Boy, there's a tough break now. Bobby Bowser got some damage in that incident with Mark Gibson earlier in the event. He's just gone a lap down to the race leader, Tim Steele. Very, very significant when we start talking about championship points for the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series title. He's now gone a lap down. That means that Hillenberg and Shack, if they can stay on the lead lap, they're going to pick up positions on Bobby Bowser.
Not exactly sure what happened there on that backstretch incident between Gibson and Bowser, but the damage to Bowser's right front, so that was kind of strange to see that. after Gibson spun down the back straightaway. And as we mentioned, Mark is out of the race. What a tough season for those drivers. But boy, anyone who loves this racetrack would know that Tim Steele has a lot of experience here. Of course, he won a race here a couple of years ago in the All-Pro division.
Tim Steele in 1993, his championship season, won not only the Slim Jim All-Pro Series race, but also the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series race, both in the same season. And what a weekend for the guy, winning both of those major events here at Winchester.
So Steele, a youngster from Coopersville, Michigan, out front in the HS Dye Simling Ford. But look at this. Right in front of him, he set his sights now on two of the lead lap cars. One of those is Marvin Smith in the Riverside Chevrolet, and Andy Hillenberg's number 11 there. So maybe not just Bowser in this points chase in danger of going down a lap, maybe Hillenberg also, because Steele is really motoring around this racetrack, and he made his way past Marvin Smith there. So Smith now down a lap, and Steele sets his sights on car number 11.
Marvin Smith and Jim Coyle's Riverside Auto Parts Chevrolet, Carl Smith, the crew chief on that car. He's the only driver to have won 2 ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series races here at Winchester. So another veteran and a guy that runs right up front. He won the AC Delco 150 earlier this season at Flat Rock Speedway. He's a lap down already here. And Steele has not missed his setup at all, because he just put the point leader, Andy Hillenberg, in the First National Bank Terre Haute. He's down a lap now. He's really picking them off.
You know, we talk about Tim Steele not running the whole series this year. It's a bit uncharacteristic not to see him run every race and chase down the title. But hard to believe, really, if you think about it, today is his 15th start, so it's not that many races that he's missed. Just normally you would see him right up there in the top 3 or 4 in the points battle, which he's not. Right now, Steele's down around 15th in the points.
You're not going to be in the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series points title if you don't run every race. It's just absolutely mandatory. You can't afford to give those points up if you don't chase every race. You see Scott Neal now putting a lap on Frog's import salvage car, David Hall at the wheel of that car, the Kansas City, Missouri driver. Neal is not that far off Steele, not by any means, especially when you see how Tim Steele is putting lead lap cars a lap down this early in the going. And the longer this green flag section stretches out, the more of those lead lap cars that are going to go away, because Tim Steele is setting a torrid pace.
Glenn Brewer just went down a lap, and we're going to take our second break from Winchester. Back with the Featherlite Trailers 150 in a moment. And welcome back to the Winchester Speedway. A beautiful fall afternoon for ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Racing, and today's event being brought to you by AC Rapid Fire Spark Plugs, Airtex Water Pumps, Amcus Rescue Tools, Auto Value Auto Parts, CSR Uniforms, and Delco Batteries. Of course, those just a partial list of the official companies of this ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series. And Ron, these companies really do a lot to help out the drivers when they're racing.
Oh, we got a spin coming out of the turn 4. That's Wesley Russell, the rookie. Might have gotten tapped a little bit from behind, but the 07 car, as you mentioned, built brand new from the ground up. He spun, and it looks like we may have a caution here on the speedway.
Yeah, the position he's sitting in right there, not anywhere near the racing groove, but when a car's down there like that, you don't want to take a chance of someone else having an accident and coming up and slamming into Russell there.
Race leader in the pits, Tim Steele, the HS Dye Simlink Ford. You saw Harris Devane go by. Now he's going to take on tires. You see the crew working on the car under caution. They're not going to go a lap down unless they have a problem. They're taking their time putting the tires back on. That gives the lead to Chet Blanton, the 00 car. And look who's running in second, Roger Blackstock. He said earlier today, I'm selling out. I'm giving everything I can got. I'm going to run wide open here at Winchester today.
Well, that's what you have to do when it's the last short track race of the season. This race car underneath Roger Blackstock, he's got to go out there and lead some laps, do the best that he possibly can. He's put all of his eggs in one basket. Today he's driving for Kenny Schrader, and you got to do good whenever you're driving for some of those Winston Cup people.
He's really trying to impress people today, and Blackstock's running in second there. Chet Blanton is your leader in Keith Wimberly Sports Spectrum Magazine Chevrolet. The 00, the white 00, Chet Blanton, leading his first ever ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series race. Take a look at Scott Neal down to the inside of Bob Shack. Shack's trying to shut him down.
Oh, my. Scott Neal clear down off the racetrack going into turn number 3. He was down on the flat spot there. You can't drive a race car there. Bob Shack moves up there, and Roger Blackstock now putting some pressure to Shack. And now look at this. Shack's got the line figured out to the inside of the racetrack.
There goes Scott Neal taking a pass for the lead. Chet Blanton now drops back into second, and Scott Neal will lead the second race of his ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series career here 1 year and 1 week later from the first race he ever drove, and he won that one at Salem.
Not very many drivers on that list of coming out and winning the first race that you ever compete in. Here goes Steele, though. Remember, this number 16 car has been very fast, and looking to the inside of 00, Chet Blanton is also Frank Kimmel. Here comes Kimmel down the front straightaway. He powers that Papa John's Pizza Oldsmobile to take a look to the inside of Blanton. I believe he's going to make the pass. He does. And here come a couple other cars. Blanton's car now evidently off the pace after leading here towards the midway of this race, and now Chet Blanton gets passed by Joe Whittemore.
I guess what those guys have got that Chet Blanton doesn't have. We were talking about tires weren't that big a factor. Maybe they are. Chet Blanton stayed out so that he could lead the race and stay up front and gain track position. All these other cars came in and got tires. Now, Blackstock did not get tires, but we just saw Tim Steele really making a run on him, so he's probably going to feel the effect of that here in a little bit. But up front, Tim Steele has got his sights set on the front, and he's passing cars again, working his way back up.
Yeah, Chet Blanton definitely falling off the pace there as we saw Harris Devane in number 33 go past him and a couple other cars. Let's take a look back to the lead. As you made mention, some good racing going on here. Yeah, Blackstock has already lost that position to Scott Neal, and here comes Steele. Tim Steele's HS Dye Chevrolet, or Ford, excuse me, is making a look to the inside, and there goes Scott Neal. Boy, I'll tell you what, this car is really hooked up, but no, Neal takes a look to the inside on coming out of turn 4.
Neal driving in that Martin Landscaping Olds, and he thought maybe he could pull back down and make a pass to the inside. I think he's getting a real strong dose right now of the medicine that says Tim Steele's got the car here today.
Well, I talked with Tim Steele before the race started, and he said, you know, this is an Ernie Elliott motor. And any of you in racing that don't know who Ernie Elliott is, he is the brother of Bill Elliott, a driver from Dawsonville, Georgia, and he makes some pretty stout power plants, and they put an Ernie Elliott motor into this Ford, and he's certainly showing that they can do a pretty good job of building motors, because he is strong today here at Winchester.
He's strong, but it doesn't seem as though he's pulling away as easily as he did before from Scott Neal. Now, the Middletown, Indiana driver, you see him still in the frame there. And even though Steele was eking away when he got up on that traffic, Scott Neal closed right up behind him. And traffic is something you're going to have all day long here today at Winchester.
Today, the 7th start of 1995 for Scott Neal, and back in our frame right now, Frank Kimmel in the Papa John's Pizza Oldsmobile and Roger Blackstock. Good run for Roger today, and as you said, he's put it all out, so we'll see if he's able to get up there and race with the leaders. Taking a look at drivers in the top 5 right now, a couple of cars have dropped out of the race. Todd Bowser out in the Quality Farm and Fleet Ford. He went out with suspension trouble. Of course, Mark Gibson, we said he was out. Marvin Smith dropped an engine in car number 1.
In your frame, as we speak, Dill Whittemore, car number 56, and the 33 of Harris Devane. That is the STP Prestone ARCA Rookie of the Year battle if Andy Hillenberg wins the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series Championship. How often have we looked today in this season, Ray, and seen these two guys running nose to tail?
It's happened a lot, and they've been competing for position on the racetrack a number of times throughout this season. To clarify a little bit of what Ron's saying, if Andy Hillenberg wins the championship, he is ineligible for Rookie of the Year. You cannot win both awards in one season. Right now, Hillenberg is the leader in our STP and Prestone Rookie of the Year Challenge, but these two drivers are fighting it out for second place, which in turn would become first place if Hillenberg wins the championship. And there's only 3 points separating these two drivers. That's why they're racing this hard.
And we've seen that happen. It happened as recently as 1993, and that's when Tim Steele won the series championship. The STP Prestone Rookie of the Year title that year went to Jeremy Mayfield, who was next highest in points. Of course, now he's the driver for Cale Yarborough.
So a number of drivers using this ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series as a stepping stone to NASCAR Winston Cup, and a lot of them out on this racetrack today would like to do that also, including guys like Whittemore and Devane, Andy Hillenberg, a lot of good drivers out there in this series. Just about anybody on this racetrack today, I believe, could do a good job down south. Ooh, right there, a little contact between Devane and number 52, Blackstock, as Devane takes the inside line, and looks like Roger's car may be losing a little bit of power here, Ron, because here comes Bob Schacht in the Buick to take the inside line on 52.
I'm not sure, Ray, that he's losing handling as much as he's losing power. Again, Roger, one of those guys that did not take tires on that last pit stop. And he's probably kind of wishing he did at this point. Moving up now on Glenn Brewer there. Oh, we got to spin in
trouble over in turns 3 and 4, and that is Roger Blackstock. And number 52, So maybe there was more problems with that car than just the tires. He has looped it, and he put the back end of the car right into the wall, and a lot of smoke coming off there. We'll get an update on Roger Blackstock when we return to Winchester.
Back at Winchester in this, the final short track race of the 1995 ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series. Finishing up that list of ARCA official companies: Featherlite Trailers, the Hoosier Racing Tire, Racing Radios, SK Hand Tool, SW Scales by Intercom, Unical Fuel, and Winnebago Motorhomes. Of course, all those companies supporting the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series all season long, and here in the 20th of 21 events, we're recognizing them. Race leader Scott Neal, Ray.
Well, it's been a great season of short track racing, intermediate track, and super speedway racing. We've had one of the biggest list of winners throughout this season, a great year of competition, and we've got the same thing for you today here at Winchester, as a number of cars able to run up front, including Tim Steele. We see Frank Kimmel there, moved up into second place now behind Scott Neal. But he's one of the young drivers, Ron, Scott Neal is, that you really see has that opportunity to possibly move up. He's marketable, he's a good-looking young guy, and he can really handle a race car, and he's been in a lot of different types of race cars, although his super speedway racing is still a bit limited.
They're going to try to fix that. From what I understand, I was told that they had purchased at one of the Charlie Sentiment auctions one of the super speedway cars out of Charlotte. May have even been a Bahari car, a Pennzoil Pontiac that they purchased. So Scott and his father Jack, I think, maybe are looking to take this thing one step at a time and try to improve on their program a little bit as they go. They sure are doing a fine job with their short track portion.
So we very well may see Neal out in that season finale down at Atlanta Motor Speedway, the General Tire and Hoosier 500. That'll be the 21st race of this season. It's been a long season, but a good one. And Frank Kimmel really would love nothing more than to win this last short track race of the season, and it appears he may be in position to do that. Of course, last week, a very controversial finish at Salem as Kimmel and Tim Steele came together in turn number 4 with just about 5 laps to go, knocking out his chances to win that one. But maybe the Papa John's Pizza Oldsmobile might make it to victory lane today. He's definitely got one of those top 5 type cars.
Yeah, and you can't help but feel that momentum that team has built up, only to have it snubbed out repeatedly. Here they are, they're going to lead the race and looking in a position to win. Tim Steele had to make a pit stop at the end of the race at Salem, so he has to restart behind them on the racetrack, less than 10 laps to go. They're racing for the lead. Steele and Kimmel come together, running through the banking at Salem. Kimmel gets a short end of the deal, cuts a tire. Bill Whittemore passes him. He's a lap down, finishes third. And they come back here today, and now they're running strong again. And Frank Kimmel runs second to Scott Neal in a good, strong run. You've got to feel those guys, you know, you've got to think they're really thinking good things are going to happen today.
I know they were disappointed with their qualifying position. Started 10th on the field today. Thought they had a lot faster race car than that. A little bit of contact there between Bob Hill and number 16, Tim Steele, as they went through the banking. Of course, this racetrack drives a bit differently, Ron. You notice as Tim Steele comes out of turn number 4 there, he's right in the middle of the turn. At Salem, those cars run with their back end almost touching the guardrail coming off of turn 4. So even though they were built very similarly, they are a little bit different in the way you drive them.
Yeah, I got to believe that part of that comes from the fact that now Salem is the rougher of the 2 racetracks, and it's a little more abrasive on tires, and the car tends to loosen up a lot more quickly. Here you've got pavement that's real, brand new pavement. Car's real tight, sticks right down on there. If anything, it might want to try to push on it a little bit.
Let's give a call to Harris Devane.
Got a tire off.
Oh,
got a tire on a
off
racetrack.
of a race car, and that will definitely bring out the yellow here, as it's Chet Blanton's. He's on his way to the pits there, but watch this tire. Hopefully no one makes any contact with it, and Jody Guerra does a nice job of swerving to miss that tire, as evidently a broken hub or a broken spindle on car number 00 of Chet Blanton.
That is such a dangerous, dangerous situation to have a tire off a race car. If one of those race cars at speed would impact that tire, it'd go straight up in the air.
Well, luckily the tire has stopped, and so has the 00, and we're going to take a stop in the action right now. Be right back. Welcome back to Winchester Speedway. I'm Ray Dunlap, along with Ron Dreger, bringing you today's broadcast of the Featherlite Trailers 150, the 20th event of the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Supercar Series. Great racing going on the racetrack just before we went to break, Ron, but Chet Blanton's car lost a wheel and he went to the pit area.
Here are your leaders, Harris Devane and Dill Whittemore, a couple of rookies running up front. Tim Steele is third, Frank Kimmel is fourth, Bob Hill and Scott Neal round out the top 6, all lead lap cars. And they've all been up toward the front. Some of them have been race leaders today. But right now, Harris Devane sits on the point, and C.L. Jones is Highland Timber Ford.
Harris Devane up front for the 2nd time in this season, and we should give a call to Scott Neal in car number 24. He led the halfway point of this racetrack, so he picks up $500 from Auto Value Parts Stores. So that'll go into the coffers for Scott Neal. And right now, as you said, he's posted back there a few positions. But look here, here's your rookie battle again. There's Harris Devane and Dill Whittemore ready to get the green flag to bring us back into racing conditions.
Sure is. On the inside line there is Bob Schacht in the Engineered Components Ford and Glenn Brewer in the CSR Lewandowski Construction Olds. Now Schacht, as we mentioned, he's trying to have a good finish here today to try to gain some points on the series points leaders, Bobby Bowser and Andy Hillenberg, who came into today's event tied. Now we saw Bobby Bowser have some trouble early on in the Quality Farm and Fleet Ford. He's still out there running and not doing that badly. He's not losing as much ground as you might consider, so that thing is really shaping up to be a good battle here today.
Great points race in the season championship battle, and as we said earlier, the Rookie of the Year battle. Every position on the racetrack could matter for that final tally there, and that's $1,500 from STP up for grabs for that, and $1,000 from Prestone. So a lot of money on the line here for this Rookie of the Year championship. But these two drivers right now, I think they're just saying to themselves, I want to go out and win myself a race for the first time. Harris Devane leading and Dill Whittemore in second. Both of these guys Rookie of the Year contenders.
We saw Dill Whittemore have the best finish of his career last week at Salem on a track very similar to this in the Indiana Steel Chevrolet, and he looks like he's got a good car on the bottom of the racetrack here. You'll see him dive very low coming out of turn 4 on most of the laps, trying to make a move past Harris Devane. Now you see him drift up a little bit, try to stay high right in Harris Devane's line, thinking maybe he can do it that way, but look who's coming up and knocking on the door. Tim Steele, the guy that's led more laps in this race than anybody, has a victory to his credit here, and he's just had the car all day long, and here he comes closing in on the two rookies.
During that last pit stop, when Steele dropped in to get some tires, I think his car was off a little bit, so maybe they made an air pressure adjustment or put some wedge into that race car, because here he comes again. As you said, he's just as quick as he was in the first segment of this race, and now they go around Bob Dodds from Dayton, Ohio, in the Numerics Unlimited Ford, putting another lap on him, and Steele is now putting some pressure on the backside of Dill Whittemore. Of course, Whittemore coming into this race had 8 top 10 finishes, and Harris Devane 10 top 10 finishes, but the bottom line is it's a season-long battle, and we take their 15 best races for that STP Rookie Award. So these two drivers hoping to fight it out here, not only maybe for a win, but for that championship in the Rookie of the Year. And as you said, though, don't count out Tim Steele.
Tim Steele's car seemed to wiggle a little bit as he came out of turn 2 the last couple of laps in succession. Oh, he's into the back of Whittemore almost as they approach Gary Weinborough. They split him.
Down the front straightaway, there goes to the outside, Whittemore to the inside, and Devane to the outside, and look out, Whittemore now out of shape because his car was too low on the racetrack coming out.
Wide battle, and now Steele has overtaken Whittemore. He's going to make a run at Devane, and here comes Whittemore back on the inside. They're coming up on Frog Hall.
That line that Dill Whittemore took off of turn 2 was not the right way to go, even though he did split Gary Weinborough. If he could have got back up into the banking, he'd have been okay, but he was too low and he had to back off the accelerator.
Scrubbed off speed, and boy, if you just burp it a little bit, there went Tim Steele. Now there's a big gaggle closing in on Dill Whittemore, who is running third, led by Frank Kimmel. You've now got like the top 6 cars within the frame there when we pull back. Here's your leader in the red and white 33, Harris Devane. Tim Steele in the red car number 16 going to try to make a move for the lead. They're moving up for the lap on Glenn Brewer.
They make their way around Brewer coming down the front straightaway. Looks like the back of Harris Devane's car may have a little red paint on that white there, as Tim Steele gave him a bit of a nudge down the front straightaway. Here goes Devane in the lead, low into the turn number 3, and Steele now taking a look to the outside, but nowhere to pass at this stage.
Harris Devane, a peanut farmer from Cuthbert, Georgia, and he says, I might be a rookie, but I'm leading the race, Tim. If you're going to pass me, you're going to have to show me that you can pass me. And now Dill Whittemore's closed in a little bit on Tim Steele again.
Whittemore has a fast race car, and he has had a great close to the season here. In the last 6 races, he's had 3 top 5s and 5 top 10s, so that's a pretty good finish as we close out our short track portion of this season. Look out as they split. Mike Lohr's going down the back straightaway. Tim Steele had the move, and he now goes into the lead. passing down Dill Whittemore and Harris Devane, and there they go to the outside of Perry Tripp. Steele, I think, was just waiting for that exact right time, and evidently he found it.
That was a slick move on Tim Steele's part. Now, here's those cars that are running 4th and 5th. Frank Kimmel in the Papa John's Pizza car, and Scott Neal in the Martin Landscaping car. Neal now looks to the inside of Frank Kimmel. That's a race for 4th.
Again, though, Ron, look how low he was running in the turn, and I don't think that's the position to pass on this racetrack, especially with lap traffic. And here go these front pack cars past Andy Hillenberg. Neal now takes a look to the inside. They're 3 wide. That's a bad place to be. Contact! Look out, Frank Kimmel gets spun as he has contact with Scott Neal, and another bad break for the Papa John's team. Oh my goodness, what can it take? Seems like every race they get in, there's some, and the yellow is out. Kimmel was in position, and now he's got the car running again.
That's a good move on Frank Kimmel's part. Very heady move. He gets it back in gear, shifts it, and goes, and he did not go a lap down.
Let's take a look at the AC rapid fire replay here. There was just nowhere for all these cars to go. Neal made a bit of a move there, maybe a bit premature to make that decision to pass. He went right up and touched the back of Hillenberg, and that spun Frank Kimmel.
And Andy Hillenberg's racing as hard as he can. He's the point leader.
Unbelievable. Back to Winchester in a moment.
Back at Winchester Speedway in Indiana, ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Supercar Series action coming your way. Harris Devane is the race leader in this race, also brought to you by Auto Value, the official parts store of ARCA. 30 laps remaining out of 150 here at Winchester Speedway. The Featherlite Trailers 150 ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series action. Harris Devane, the rookie, your leader. Scott Neal runs second, right on his tail, setting up for the finish of this one after green flag pit stops and now a caution.
Now, Harris Devane and Dill Whittemore were running side by side, but that all got jumbled around a little bit after that incident with Scott Neal and Frank Kimmel. We see Bob Hill now with a good run. He's on the oh, look out. There's a little contact between Hill and Tim Steele. Yeah, Steele to the inside there. And we should give a call to Bob Hill, Ron, here. What a season this team has had, although very similar to the outcomes that the Papa John's Pizza team has had. They've been up front, they've run well, they've had a good season, but they haven't been able to do much winning. They just have one victory this year on a dirt track.
Well, and they're a fish out of water here on these paved tracks, and they've done so very well to adapt. Larry Clement, the driver Bob Hill, and their whole team, their whole background is ultra successful in dirt track racing. They came to this mainly a pavement series, the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde series, and have done extremely well, learned a lot, and really improved their program, especially on these venues, the paved short tracks.
Well, he's got 5 top 5s, but that's not really characteristic of the season they've had. Of course, they went out at I-80 on the half-mile dirt track. Hill led to most of that race before he broke an axle. And, of course, they've just had some mechanical problems plague them this season. But I think if they stick around, you're going to see this guy up front and running for the victory in a number of these, even on the short tracks that are paved. Bob Hill's got a lot of talent. Ooh, there they go. Close it up as Tim Steele now closes right onto the back bumper. And Harris Devane out front in car number 33, along with Scott Neal. So some good quality cars in the closing stages of this race.
You know, you got to wonder if Tim Steele is comfortable with his car right now. He makes a nice move there on Bob Hill, but there's less than 25 laps remaining, and he was just kind of biding his time there. Tim Steele wants to get back to the front. He's had the car all day. He had a tough time getting around Bob Hill.
And in that last segment, it took him a long time to set up to get around Harris Devane in car number 33, and Devane running second right now behind Neal. So that traffic may be a problem for Tim Steele here if he's going to repeat as winner here in the Featherlite Trailers 150. Scott Neal is from Middletown, Indiana. He's a youngster on this series, but they know what they're doing on racing on these high-bank racetracks. They got a lot of experience. Harris Devane, as you said, comes from Georgia. Tim Steele from Coopersville, Michigan. So drivers from all around the country competing in this series. And here goes Steele taking a look to the inside.
Steele's a veteran. He's run a bunch of these races. He's won a championship. He's won a half a dozen races. He knows what it takes to do it. And he's not going to panic. He's not going to hit the panic button too early. But you got to believe he'd like to get up front, especially before they get into too much of this lap traffic. And here they come up on it. Glenn Brewer down on the inside. That's Gary Weinbrower in car number 77. Scott Neal disposes of him. Harris Devane and Tim Steele follow along right in line. There's Glenn Brewer now. Steele is looking for a way around Devane. Can't do it. Frog Hall, the next car to go a lap down. And all the while we're passing this lap traffic, laps are clicking off.
The important thing is where do they catch the lap traffic in the turns? Contact there between Harris Devane and Tim Steele. just as I was saying, now Frog Hall ducked out of the way, but they caught him coming right out of turn number 2, and that's the location of where this lap traffic hit you. Could be the big deciding factor of whether Steele can make it around. Now here he goes on a high line going past Harris Devane, and Harris may have cut a tire there. There was a good bit of smoke off those two race
cars. Look at the 33 wiggle back and forth. The car shifting left to right, side to side, going down the backstretch. Yeah, you wonder if something didn't maybe get broken or knocked out of whack there on the 33 car.
Evidently, he didn't lose a tire because he is continuing at speed, but now Tim Steele has made his way around Harris Devane with just a few laps remaining. The big question becomes, can he catch Scott Neal? Neal, a winner in this series on this type of racetrack. Last year he picked up the victory at Salem Speedway in the Eddie Gilstrap race, and right now it looks like Steele is closing.
And you know something else? Scott Neal out-qualified Tim Steele here today. Neal the pole sitter, Steele outside pole.
Just sit back and watch this one a little bit as we can let Tim Steele and Scott Neal tell the story to you. And here goes Steele. He does have the power. Coming down the back straightaway, it's a drag race. Door handle to door handle. The position you want to be in is on the high side of the racetrack. Scott Neal's got the line, but Steele evidently has the power.
Ernie Elliott power, but look at Scott Neal come back and take a run at him. He takes it really hard into 1 and 2. Boy, he drove that thing in there as deep as you can. He's not giving up by any means. He's on the outside. He's got a good handling race car, does Scott Neal, but Tim Steele just a little bit too much for him.
Good racing here at the Winchester Speedway. Certainly hope you folks have enjoyed watching the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Supercar Series here on the Prime Network. It's been a great racing season, and this one is certainly not over. And look, here come the leaders up on track again. Bobby Bowser down to the inside. Bowser again going a lap down, and that may have just hurt Scott Neal a little bit there. Where you catch the traffic on this racetrack can really make a big difference.
So Bobby Bowser, the Quality Farm and Fleet Ford, one of our ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series championship contenders, came in tied for the point lead today. And Ray, if you can believe this, Bob Schacht, Andy Hillenberg, and Bobby Bowser are all running within one position of one another here on the racetrack as we wind down in this race.
Yeah, and Bowser and Hillenberg are posted as 3 laps down. That's not that bad for the condition those race cars are in. Of course, Bobby had been in that early accident, and that really could have helped him if he was able to run strong here today, but those cars all back in like the 10th or 12th, 13th position in this race right now. Tim Steele out front. He's your leader from Coopersville, Michigan, but don't count out Scott Neal because he's got a tough race car.
And now Andy Hillenberg in the Terre Haute First National Bank Oldsmobile. He's going to go a lap down. Again, remember, he's tied with Bowser coming into this race in the point standings, and both of them are running behind Bob Schacht on the racetrack, who came in 3rd in the point standings.
And there's only 150 or so points between Schacht and those 2 front runners. They came in tied, Hillenberg and Bowser did, and Schacht's 150 out. Then you say, you know, with 2 events remaining, there's a total of some 450 points available. So that 150 out is not that big a deal.
Not at all, especially when you go to a place like Atlanta Motor Speedway where you're going to have, you might have 60 or 70 race cars down there. It's a chore just to qualify for the race, let alone what happens in the race with 42 or 43 starters.
I'm impressed with Bobby Bowser here, though, that he is getting out of the way and letting all these drivers race for it. He knows his car is ill handling, and he just needs to stay in the race and finish, but he's letting all these guys go by to do their racing because they're fighting for position right here. Here goes Whittemore and number 46, Bob Hill. Those 2 drivers looking for a position, currently running in the top 5.
Bowser's a much more seasoned driver than when he came here in 1988. He's won a couple of championships. He's won a dozen or 14 or so races. And he's learned from some pretty good teachers. Jack Bowser, his dad, is an ultra-successful racer, and he's a sagely old guy. You know, he knows a lot about this business. And Bobby Bowser has really matured well. But you're right, a great race going on right here. Dill Whittemore, a pretty much a pure rookie to this deal, as is Bob Hill. And they're putting on a great show right now.
Bowser's a real seasoned veteran at age 28, right? A lot of youngsters in this series, and there's some up front doing some good racing for you right now. Pressure on Bob Hill from Whittemore. Whittemore takes the position. The Indiana Steel Oldsmobile from Seymour, Indiana, making the move there to go around Bob Hill. We'll see if Whittemore can get back up there and fight for the title in this race. The Featherlite Trailers 150 in the closing stages here. Good racing on the racetrack now. Tim Steele, though, starting to stretch away a bit, and here we get him in the frame, the HS Dye Ford. That is one tough race car.
Tim Steele has won at Pocono. He's won at Talladega. He's won on the Salem Speedway, and now it looks like he's in pretty good shape to pick up a victory at Winchester. Tim Steele shows he can win at pretty much any of the venues on this series.
A lot of horsepower under the hood of that car number 16, as we mentioned. Ernie Elliott supplying the power. And look at this. Steele is now moving up on Frank Kimmel. Kimmel, a top 5 contender in this race, and he's in danger of going a lap down. Now remember, Kimmel came together earlier in this race with Scott Neal.
White flag is out, right?
They had that spin, and that may have done something to Kimmel's car. So he goes a lap down now, and we're just half a lap away for the victory for Tim Steele. The youngster from Coopersville, Michigan, shows that he still has the power, and he comes down the front straightaway. He'll pick up the victory today here at Winchester.
There's Scott Neal for second position. Scott Neal will bring it home second here. The ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series, 150 lap, the Featherlite Trailers 150 at Winchester. There's your race winner, Tim Steele.
Good crowd on hand today here at Roger and Linda Holdeman's racetrack, and Tim Steele will be the victor. Taking a look at your SK Tools field summary from 15th up.
Mike Lowers, Jody Guerra, Gary Weinbrewer, David Froghall, and Glenn Brewer, 11th through 15th.
From 6th down, we see Harris Devane, good run for the rookie. Bob Schacht, Andy Hillenberg, and Bobby Bowser all finished together, 7th, 8th, and 9th. And Perry Tripp with another top 10. A good season for Perry from Fredericktown, Missouri. But look at that points. 7th, 8th, and 9th are points leaders.
And your top 5, Frank Kimmel lost a lap right at the end, still finishes 5th, another top 5. Bob Hill finishes 4th. The rookie Dill Whittemore picks up points on his rookie contenders. He's 3rd overall in the race. Scott Neal, the pole sitter, comes home 2nd. And your race winner, the 6th of his ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series career, is Coopersville, Michigan driver Tim Steele.
Steele getting out of his race car, and we want to thank you for joining us here from Winchester today. I'm Ray Dunlap along with Ron Dreger. Been great to have you on the broadcast, and hope you enjoyed this 1995 ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde season.